Today's episode, you guys, is brought to you by Perfect Storm Real Estate Specific Software. It's the website I use in my business. I'm actually a partial owner within the company that's been able to give my input to help create a piece of software that is uber effective at lead generation in our real estate businesses. That website, www.perfectstormnow.com. Go check that out. It's amazing, epic front-end lead generation site that's extremely affordable for real estate agents out there. Also, today's episode is brought to you by our 90-day mastery bootcamp. If you're in the real estate industry, if you're wanting to take your business to the next level, this is a gnarly, crazy experience. We go through for 90 days straight. There's there is 13 total sessions that we go through. Each weekly session is about 2 to 3 hours long every single week. Plus, you have daily access to me going through the experience through the group. So to check out more about that program, we roll those out about every 90 days. We stagger them once in a while, but we do about 3 or 4 of those every single year. So if you want to spend the next 90 days with me, about 40 hours of just crazy epic content helping your business take it to the next level, go to www.90daymastery.com. That's our sales page. You can see testimonials, learn more about the product, and register and sign up right there. If you are signing up, make sure to use the promo code LiveMastery, all caps, all together, all one word, LiveMastery. It saves you $500. It makes that whole entire 90-day coaching experience only $997 for you guys. So, all right, let's jump on in. What up, peeps? Joshua Smithy with another GSD interview. Every single week, we interview top badasses that are just out there dominating their space, people that are choosing to create epic lives for themselves while they exist on this planet. And today, we've got an exciting guest that's live in the studio. This is a dude that I've looked up to for years. If you're a real estate agent in Phoenix, Arizona, you know this guy. He's an absolute legend. He's created so much abundance and success in his life, and absolutely stoked and honored to have Chuck Fazio in the studio today. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. I know about a legend, but
yeah.
I do my best.
Now, you're a humble dude, man. I mean, you've created a lot of success in your life that most people can't even fathom, especially in the real estate industry, right? So, but before we get into and talk about what you're doing today, because I know you got a lot going on. You got a massively expanding brokerage, one of the top brokerages in the state. Before we talk about that, though, let's talk about your journey. Let's rewind the clocks, man. Go back to, high school, college. What led you into entrepreneurship and down the path that you're down right now?
Well, that's a good question. Entrepreneurship, I don't think was ever in my vocabulary. I grew up in New York, in the city, Queens, the boroughs. I was never a school person. Hated school with a passion. I even joke around with my kids. I cheated my way right through school. And not proud of it, not proud of my background, but you know what? I always believe God's got a plan. And he brought me from places that in my opinion, I look back, is still mind-blowing. If you want to get into it, I'll go into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
The part that I could honestly say I'm not proud to speak about, but I'm not bashful because where I am now in my life, I believe God always had a plan. And his plan is always perfect, even though we might look back and go, well, that was kind of a crappy way of going about it and living your life. But the outcome is, and the journey is what we're going to look at. So, great family, brought up in a good Italian household, New York kid, hung around with some rowdy kids when I'm younger. At the age of 17, got a job at a club. So that was kind of my eye-opening to more of life, interacting with people, and never realizing my journey of working through nightclubs actually gave me a lot of on-hands street training of how do you deal with people. So now that I'm older, more mature, I look back at that and see that. But, so going through age 17, working at clubs as a bouncer, young kid, I worked at some rowdy clubs. And we looked forward every night to fights. And you could probably guarantee at any given night, 5 or 6 nice, good brawls a night. And, it was fun for us. And, kids. Well, as I started to journey through working in the clubs, a lot of money in that business. And then you start being in New York, you start hanging around with certain type of crowds. Well, let's just say hung around with the Italian good old boys, and we know who they are, the good families, and started running some of their strip clubs. And we're talking early 20s. And I was around a lot of radical people. I lived my life with the mantra, I'd rather be feared than loved. And kind of crazy because kind of gave you a sense of power, but at the same time, and I'll jump back and forth looking back at my life now, what a crappy feeling to not know who really cared about you. Yeah. And so I lived my life working in a very dark and demonic world from like I said, from an early age. And got caught up in the drug scene, was a big drug dealer. I should have been in jail 10 times over. I should have been dead 10 times over. Life, when you look back, you don't know how you're going through life. And some people never get out of it. Some people never escape it. Some people die in that type of scene. I always joke, if I had $1 for every person who says, you have no idea who I am, I'm going to come back and kill you, I'd be a rich man. Yeah. I had guns pulled on me, knives pulled on me, jumped. I've watched some of my good friends die right in front of me. I even had a hit put out on me once. Yeah. And it's radical life. I was married at the time, had 2 kids. I was probably one of the crappiest husbands you'll meet, and an even worse father. So life is tough. But you think that's what life is about, that notoriety. I could walk into any club, anybody knew who I was. And I knew a lot of celebrities, I knew a lot of people, but my life was bankrupt. It was bankrupt spiritually. I wasn't a happy person. I was really miserable. We're talking now going, Joshua, through my 30s, I'm there. I mean, I was always seeking something. I was always saying, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to be the best at what I want. I did modeling. I did talk shows. I was on Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake, Mark Wahlberg. I was on all the shows. Carted around in limos. And people would look at my life and think, wow, that's the life. But it wasn't the life. It was tough. I had run-in with Hell's Angels when I worked in Manhattan. I had run-ins with the notorious gang, the Pagans, when I was on Long Island. I still honestly look back and have no idea why I'm still alive today. Yeah. Should have OD'd, should have been dead in car crashes. It's crazy.
Must give you a whole new sense of gratitude, though, for life.
Absolutely. Gratitude and... even today, which I'll get to where my life is at, but I look at it and I go to people, man, you have no idea what life is really like. You've sheltered. Struggles, you don't have struggles. And that's why I'm not empathetic with people who like to be victims and complain. I did whatever it takes to put food on my table. Sometimes not the right way. But I was a worker. I was a machine. I would have my nighttime club jobs. I'd work till clubs close at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm home by 5:30, 6 o'clock, getting up for my day job with 2 hours sleep. And the only reason why I kept my day job was for the benefits. Yeah. It was tough. And I did that for years.
What made you transition? Because when I hear guys are maybe in that kind of similar situation that were in, dealing drugs or in that point, like something happened that really woke them up, that scared them, that made them transition. Was it something, that one thing that just happened that you're like, holy crap, I need to go a different path? Or did one day you just kind of naturally come to that realization?
That's a great question, because I could honestly say one thing definitely didn't happen, because you become numb to what could happen to you. I never realized, even though I did watch people die, and I know there was sometimes, I'll be honest, I was surrounded, gun to my head. Basically, the energy in the air was so demonic that I was probably done that day, but nothing ever made me go, I need to change. And the reason why I think that is just because that just was my life.
Yeah.
I didn't know any different. And once again, I'm not from a bad background. I have great, loving parents. They're still together today, brother and a sister, you know. So it's not like I'm one of these people that say, oh, I was mistreated as a kid and, oh, poor me. No, I just took that path. And like I said, I look back now, God's always in control. And he had a reason for bringing me through that path. I was raised as a Catholic kid, went through Catholic high school, all-boy high school. I was a degenerate in every sense of the word. But to answer your question, what was that point? Well, I think the point was I'm 30-something years old. I was living with my in-laws, never even owned real estate, never even thought about buying real estate. And I said, where the hell is my life going? What am I doing? I'm not a good husband. I'm not a good father. I'm not bringing these two kids up. I'm so self-centered, so egotistical. Everything was about me, me, me. And I even got to a point going, I knew everybody, but yet could say I had no friends. It was just mind-blowing.
So what's that first step? What's that first step of, okay, man, I gotta turn some things around?
Good question. I think there was a low point of when you hang around those Italian families and you're in with them and it's all money driven. I never forget there was a point the guy who owned the club, who I thought was my friend, what he did was he had us jumped one day in the club as a joke. Just me and my friend. He set us up. We were the only two working that night. Sent about 5 guys in. I seen it coming. You know, I always believe God's given me this gift that I could still tell you today is just absolutely a gift of discernment. I could feel the presence. Honestly, I could feel spiritual presence. But I do want to let you know, I didn't know the Lord then. And so I'd never had a relationship, even though I was brought up in a religion, never had a relationship. I never really understood it. So we would jump that night and took care of ourselves pretty well. And so when he got back, I go, man, you would not believe what happened. And he starts laughing. He goes, oh, yeah, I sent him in. I was just testing you guys out. And that's when it hit me. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm 30-something years old. I'm running around, working for the mob, and going, this ain't my lifestyle. Strung out, always looking for the next fix, and miserable. So my brother, who had moved out to Arizona probably 2 years prior, and I wasn't really ever close with my brother, but when you grow up in New York, you don't think ever about leaving New York. That's your home. You don't think anything different. So my brother had moved out, and I remember we would go out and visit him, and I would come out to this state, and I go, where the hell do you live? You know, it's radically different from the city. And once again, it's all a God thing. I think one day I said, I'm done. I need to try to make my marriage work. And I said, let's move. I need to get out of working in the clubs. I need to get out of this lifestyle and just pick up and go. Quit my daytime job, dropped all my clubs, and moved out to AZ. And that was the end of '98. And I'm one of those people, I don't have to have a plan. I'll make things work. I'll figure stuff out. So it's not even I had a job lined up. It's not even what am I going to do for a living? Let's just go. And we did. My parents already had a house out here, but they didn't move, so we were going to stay there. So I moved my wife at the time, my 2 little kids, and we were living out here. And you know what? I just started getting sucked right back into that lifestyle because some of the people from New York were still calling me and luring me in. And so the unfortunate thing is, didn't really change that much. But I said, I need to work. I need to make money. So I said, what's this real estate stuff people talk about? You know, I said, let me go into real estate school. It's quick. I hate school, but I said, it's quick. It's easy. I'll go get a job as a real estate agent. That's what I did. That was my first taste of going into real estate. Went to the real estate school. And
so was that like 98, 99, 2000?
The end of '98, as soon as I moved out.
Okay.
I looked up a school, jumped right in. You know, I told you I'm not a school person. I'm good at cheating my way through school, but I'm sitting here going, the hell am I getting into, man?
Yeah.
What, am I becoming a doctor here? So I had to figure out how to pass that test. And by the grace of God, I did. And it was actually funny. I always joke around these days. You know, when you're just brought up as a worker, an employee, and you don't really know about real estate, never forget, real estate companies would come in and they try to lure you to them. And it was at Keller Williams, and they said, hey, you know, this is what we're going to do. We'll train you. We'll mentor you. And I never forget going home to my dad and going, would you believe, man, I'm not even out of school yet, and I already have a job offer. You know, you laugh about it now. I go, you fog a mirror, anybody will take you.
Yeah.
So graduated, I got out. I mean, I was I had long blonde hair. I was just still fresh out of New York.
Yeah. So you get your real estate license. 90% of realtors fail in the first 3 years. Yeah, right. So how did you go out there and because I mean now not only are you still in real estate, but you own one of the top brokerages in the country, probably one of even the most successful brokerages in the nation. How do you go from bringing a young kid just getting his license to where you're going? So walk us that journey, because a lot of our guests always like to know, hey, how do they get through those first couple of years? Because that's where they're struggling the most of picking up that traction.
Yeah, I can't even make this up. I still look back and go, was that real? So I get in, I'm working there, have no idea. The joke is every day I would go, what the hell do I do today? What does a real estate agent do? Because, you know, when you work, you know what you got to do. You go in, you put in your time, you get paid for it. They tell you what to do. Now I'm my own boss, which you think you love. And so every day I would go in and go, I have no idea what to do. Have no idea what to do. So I said, well, I know what I'll do. Saturday, I'll do an open house. You know, that's what people do. It's how they find buyers. So I'd go the whole week doing absolutely nothing. Saturday comes along, and your buddies are going out, and they're hanging out. It's beautiful out. And they go, what do you mean you're working today? I go, yeah, you're right. Forget it. You know what? I'll go to work on Monday. I'll figure it out. Blow off open houses. And the cycle would just continue. I don't know what to do. Let's do an open house. Weekend comes. I don't feel like doing an open house. And I'll be honest, I don't bash companies, but there are certain people that either bring you up or bring you down. Now, I also come to a point that I know you have to let that affect you. So to really answer your question, what did I do when I first got in the business? I did nothing. I sucked at what I was doing. And I really did not feel like I was getting the guidance. And I'm one of those people, and I guess it's being brought up when you're in an environment that you really have to fear for your life every night. You become very keen and sharp and aware to your surroundings. And that's one thing I do. I have this keen gift from being at 17 years old to 30-something years old, constantly working in clubs where you're constantly watching people. You're watching their movements. You're watching their reaction. You're watching how they maybe even interact with somebody else across the room. That was such a learning lesson. It's such a life skill for me. So I use that in the real estate world. I'm watching people. I'm watching the way people train. I'm watching the way leaders of teams or the heads of companies would interact with people. And it hit me. And it's really sad to say, and this is just my experience, people really don't give a shit about other people. Yeah. And it really had a damper on me. Where I was like, and I never realized how those statistics were, how many people failed in this industry. And I'm starting to become really keenly aware of that because I'm not making money and there's no paycheck coming in. The beauty thing out of it is a year being with them. Maybe I'd done 1 or 2 deals, but I'm living with mom and dad. I'm not making ends meet, but mooching off my parents at 30-something years old, and I'm going through a divorce at this point. So I'll be honest with you, what happened that was life-changing, one of the things is, and never forget, I joined a team, and I said, okay, I'll give up 60% of my deals. I'll take anything at this point. And we were at a team meeting once, and there was like 15 people on this team, and I was friends with the husband and wife who ran the team at the time, and I'm sitting in the back of the classroom, and I'm miserable. You know, I don't care. I'm one of those guys. You never see me in a suit and tie. I'm not a pompous, stuffy person where I feel like I have to dress that way. So I'm sitting in the back of the room, got my arms folded. I'm miserable. I'm fresh out of New York about a year. In walks this beautiful blonde girl, and coming into the team meeting. So I look up the team leader, and I'm going through a divorce, so, you know, is what it is. And I'm like, who's that girl? And he goes, I'll tell you later. So the meeting starts. This girl sitting in the front. There's about 15 people sitting in this team meeting. So one of the things they do is they do sales. You know, I'm sure maybe you do that with your team. You go, who's got sales this month? They're writing them on the board. And the wife of the husband, she was on a diet at a time, and she's lost some weight, so you can tell she's lost some weight. Now, mind you, I meant this as a compliment. You know, everybody looks back and goes, I can't believe you said that. This is what it is. So I'm sitting in the back of the room with my arms folded, and I won't say the woman's name, but I said, hey, so-and-so. I go, you on a diet? And she turns around in front of everybody, and she goes, yeah. She goes, you could tell? I go, yeah, I can see the board now. Oh. This beautiful blonde girl, who I'd just seen for the first time, turns around and looks at me, and she goes, what are you, an asshole? In front of everybody. Now, I had some choice words I wanted to go back at her, but I said, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. She's a good-looking girl. Well, that good-looking girl turned out to be my wife now. Yeah. And so started dating her a little, and I said, why don't we partner up in real estate, you know? And so we were partners, but you know, Josh,
I got to ask it real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but how does it go from her asking me an asshole to asking her on a date? How does that work out?
I'm good at what I do. I always tell people I'm good at sales.
Yeah, love it, man, love it.
You know, but yeah. The ironic thing is this girl, my wife, she's very beautiful, and she's very intelligent, and she's got a double master's. I'm a street guy. I hate school. So we're like opposite ends of the spectrum here. And she would always make comments, like if the group was out at a bar or something. And I never forget, one girl on the team says to Angela, as I was walking by, because she was going through a divorce too. And she goes, as I'm walking by, she purposely says it loud enough, and she goes, would you ever think about dating Chuck? And she goes, I only date smart guys. And I just looked at her, I go, you know what, girl, you have no idea what you're talking about. You know, I might not be book smart, but I'm smart. Yeah. So it was funny, because it was that courting that went back and forth that finally we started dating and working together. But you know what, Josh? We were broke. We were both broke. I actually never forget, one day I said to her, we were in the backyard of her house. She had a 1-year-old going through divorce. I got the 2 young kids. And I said to her, I go, you sure you got no money in your bank account? Because, man, I got no money. And we were ready to move in with my parents. We were that broke. And we didn't know what to do. Honestly, this is not something, hey, okay, you got some reserves somewhere, somebody's going to help you out. And we were broke. And I was in debt up the wazoo. It was crazy. And you know what? It was the first time that I started to feel the presence of a God, because I was at my wit's end. It was tough. And I am not kidding you. We literally, neither one of us really had that relationship with God. And we prayed. I'm like, God, where do you got us? Do I need to leave? Do I need to get out of this business? I was working graveyard shift at Fort McDowell Casino, running the security there, trying to make ends meet. Wasn't happening. Real estate is a tough industry. And I will tell you, we sought God, we sought changes, we prayed, and one day, one girl walks into the office at KW, and we heard that she was leaving, and we were friends with her, and we said, why are you leaving? And she goes, I just don't want to stay here anymore. I think I'm going to try somewhere else. I'm not making money. We were noticing most people don't make money. And then we questioned for the first time, maybe this is not where we're supposed to be. And we saw it, and I'm telling you, you know, Hindsight, looking back, once again, didn't have a relationship with God, knew of a God, was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
And all we kept getting was this message: you need to seek going somewhere else, trust me. We're broke. So we started looking at other companies. Just went around interviewing. I go, I don't know what we're looking for. Went to a Remax, went to Coldwell Banker, went to West USA Realty, and never forget, we went into West USA Realty, and at that time, this is probably 2000, 2001, they were the largest brokerage here in the Valley. They had over 3,000 agents. And we said, I'm feeling this is where God wants us, but they have no training, no mentoring, no support, no nothing at that time. And never forget, walking into the office, they have a plaque. And the plaque says the top agents of the company, over 3,000 agents. And I'm dating my wife at the time. We're not married. And we're broke. I walk in. I go, this is where we're going to be. And I go, and you see that plaque? And the office manager sitting right there. I go, my name's going to be on the top of it. I probably almost lost my wife at that time because she's like, am I dating some crazy guy here? Well, I'm going to tell you, we left KW. And in that 1 year from being broke, we sold $17.5 million in real estate. 1 year from being broke. But how did we physically do that? We worked. I worked my tail off. We would get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and we wouldn't be finished by 11. We door knocked all day long. We sat open houses day and night, weekends. We circled prospect around those open houses. Here's what I relied on. I relied on me and her. Not what am I going to depend on somebody else? What are they going to teach me? We learned as we go. We learned what to say as we went. We learned our presentations as we went. We were just real as real could be, telling people, look, we don't know what we're doing, but we'll work our ass off to get your home sold. Yeah. 17.5 million, then 22, then 40. We were one of the top agents in the country within 3 short years, running one of the top teams in the country. And we were blessed. We were West USA Realty's #1 agents out of over 3,000.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a journey, Josh. I tell people all the time, man, there's no magic pills out there. It's a lot of work. And when you start to focus to blame somebody else, you take your eyes off the prize.
Yep.
It's tough.
Couldn't agree more, man. So then what takes you from, I mean, you're the #1 team, one of the top teams in the country, #1 for West USA and the whole entire state of Arizona, because now you own your own West USA brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right? So then what was the deciding factor to go out there and create your own brokerage? Was it just because like you had maybe felt like you had this calling because you had such a bad experience where you wanted to create an environment that truly gave agents the experience they wanted, or what prompted you to go to that level?
Well, when we were building the team, we were working actually out of our home. I wasn't working out of the office. We had one office in there, but it didn't suffice 18 people on a team. So our whole first floor of our house was all desks and computers. So we were running the team out of the house, and we said, look, we need to find a physical space. And they said that we could find a satellite office. That's great. We were living in Ahwatukee at the time. It's where we predominantly did most of our business. We were actually looking now, because we're making money, to buy another house, a bigger home. So we were looking at some other properties in Ahwatukee, and we're looking at Ahwatukee Custom Estates, and we were actually under contract with a property. And at that time, not only was our business changing, but our life was changing. Our life was changing radically because God now had gotten a hold of us. It was such a spiritual enlightenment. It was such a spiritual thing that you can't explain it. You know, before I get into that part, I do need to tell people about this. Is I'm bold in my faith. You know, Jesus Christ is my Lord. And the fact of the matter is you will also find that I'm the most humble person in my faith. I think now I'm the most wretched person that walks the face of this earth. Even though somebody could say, well, didn't you think you were wretched before? No, the difference is when you don't have a God in your life and you don't have standards to uphold. See, the God in your life doesn't make you perfect. It just reveals how wretched you are. So you'll never hear me judge, put down, ridicule anybody. Zero. It will never happen. But what he radically did to me and my wife, you can't explain it. It's not a coincidence. So all of a sudden now as believers and walking in faith and walking by faith and not by sight, we started to say, okay, God, where do you guide us? And I can't tell you how many times God's molded our direction in business. Do this, not this. Do this, not this. And it was the same thing with buying and selling real estate. So we thought we found the right house. We both were praying on it. God give us a sign. We both woke up the next morning. I had this was the perfect house. Had this overwhelming feeling that this was not the right house. But I wasn't going to say that to my wife because I know she loved the house. So she says to you, have you been praying on this? I said, yeah. She goes, what does God tell you? I go, you tell me first. And she goes, it's overwhelming. God's telling me no. And I'm like, wow, God's telling me no too. And you know, within the next week, I was showing houses out in South Chandler. At that time, it was all farmland. It was dirt. And I walked into this unbelievable 6,000 square foot home for $540,000. I went home, I said, we got to buy this house. And she said, I'm not living out there. Our family's here. Our office is here. Prayed about it. God says, that's where you're going. We moved out there, called the owner of West USA, we were their top agents, and said, hey, look, man, I don't want to commute to Ahwatukee no more. Those freeways aren't in yet. And he says, why don't you put an office out there? Wow. That was something big for us. I'm not a business guy. I don't have business smarts. I don't know nothing about finances. I'm just a worker. And prayed on it. God opened doors. Went under contract to open up a franchise for West USA. And the only reason why I chose West USA is I worked at their company, knew nothing else. I said, let me use their systems. I don't use any of their systems. We are completely autonomous of that brokerage, but yet might have the name on it, but we're who we are. And so broke ground, 10 agents, because they were our team. And that first year, not even in our regular building, we grew to 80 agents. And I'll tell you, Josh, there are a lot of naysayers out there. The best motivational speakers I've ever heard are the people who put me down. And the day I left KW, that owner said to me, you're going to fail in this business. You aren't going to make it. And I'm going to tell you, you talk about driving me. I'm a very competitive person. And I will do whatever it takes to prove people wrong. And it drove us, and people said, in a down market? We're hitting a down market. You're going to open up your own brokerage? You're right around another Keller Williams. You're around 2 Remaxes. You're around the Coldwell Banker and a Prudential. What are you doing? I said, I'm going to be the biggest and the best. And I'm going to tell you, just if you want to fast forward, within 10 years, well, I should say within 5 years of opening, I already hit as the #1 office in the entire East Valley in production, #1. And from that date, I've never not lost that position as #1. I'm actually double the #2 brokerage in production as a single office in the entire East Valley. And you know what? First, all glory goes to God, because you know what? He opened and closed doors, and he's gifted us. You know, there's nothing more valuable, and I know you share this feeling. There's nothing more valuable than being able to help somebody, to instilling what you're blessed with, to be a blessing to them. And I teach this. All team leaders I teach that because I hear the same thing all the time. But Chuck, am I going to pour all my heart into these people and then they're going to leave my team? And I'm like, so? You have no idea the blessing you're going to get along the way. You know, biblical concepts are huge for us. You reap what you sow is so predominant. Being a servant leader is not lip service for us. Are there days I question, what the hell are we doing? Oh, man, I'm sure you do the same thing.
Yeah.
People will beat you up every day.
Yeah. So you jump in this brokerage. I mean, so you went from really your team, so you can't really call it 10 agents because it was just it was your team, organically growing this to 80 agents in your first year. And we see most brokerages out there, like, never can really, they seem to always struggle to get above, like, that 50 agent mark. Right? Like, and you did it in 12 months with a lot. I mean, you know them out there. You see them out there. They've been open 5, 6, 10 years, and they still haven't been able to get above 50 agents. Like, what do you guys do, or what do you think that you did differently to go out there and grow so fast?
Here's what I say to people. What anybody could grow in is their vision, their goals, their dreams. There's nobody out there that I should expect should have the same passion about my vision, my goals, and my dreams. Not my best employees, not my best agents. It's me. I drive my vision, goals, and dreams. The difference is most owners of companies who have vision, goals, and dreams hire people to try to achieve their vision, goals, and dreams. I don't do that. I've got great staff. I hire them. But at the end of the day, do I know they have passion for my company? Absolutely, but not like I do, and I would never expect them. We're very humble that a lot of people don't even call us West USA. A lot of people just say Chuck and Angela's office. Yeah. And it's truly humbling. I'm going to tell you, I wake up next to my best friend, the most beautiful girl in the world, and I literally say, God, I don't know why you chose me. I was the biggest wretch. I was the worst husband to my first. I was the worst father. I don't know why you chose me in this path, but you did. And I'm going to take full advantage of it. And nothing falls on anybody else's shoulders but mine. And when we're around people, you'll see us in the office almost all the time. I should say, you come to my office one time, I'm gone. I'm in Europe. Gone for a month, sorry. But you will always see us. And they know, every one of my agents knows I care. I tell my agents, here's what I do every Monday morning. Every Monday morning, my wife and I will speak to as many agents who want to show up. And it's motivation. It's life lessons. I share what's on my mind. Nobody has to guess what I'm thinking. Nobody has to guess what I'm going through. Nobody has to guess what I'm experiencing, not just in business, but in life. Business is life. Period. Anybody who tries to separate the two will surely fail. The second thing I do every Monday morning is I get a report from my office manager showing me the production for every agent at my company for last week. And I do not look at it to go, wow, look how much money I made. I look at it for one reason and one reason only, and that's to be the biggest cheerleader for my agents. When I see an agent on that list who I know has been dying to get a paycheck, and I see them, oh man, $8,000, good for him, man, I'm so happy. Or when I go through week after week and I don't see that one person that I'm praying for, not on that list, my heart breaks. That is not lip service. That is the truth. That is what I do. And you know what? When you wear your heart on your sleeve and you care about people that much, when somebody screws you over, it hurts twice as much. And it does. And it questions. And I've just had that happen to me recently. And it doesn't stop. It won't stop. Where people, you pour everything you have into them. People you have over for dinner. People you care about will leave your company while you're out of town so they don't have to face you face to face. Yeah. Man up. Yeah. But it won't change the way I am. We're called to be servant leaders. And there's more blessing out of helping somebody. I don't do it because I say, well, God's going to bless me abundantly. Because my blessings are when I get home. But I do it because that's what he's called me to do. And what we've been growing in is mindset. And I've watched you for a while. It's actually funny. I've been watching you since you were at Remax, and I always tell my wife about you. She's not on Facebook or anything. And I go, man, I'm just watching this guy. I go, I like the way he is. I like the way he works, and I'm watching your growth. And this is for years now. I even made comments like, and this is not to belittle Remax. I always kept saying, why is he at Remax still? Yeah. And then I said, you made a move. And I'm like, damn, I'm good. But I see the way you are, and I see your mindset. And it's something I wish I could take this, open up people's minds and put that information in it. But one of the things that you're going to see tremendous growth from us over the next couple of years is because I believe that God is just, when God gives me clarity, there is no stopping us. Yeah. Philippians 4:13, everything through Christ who strengthens me. And you know what? And I make sure I tell people this. That does not mean God says, I'm going to give you everything you want, because it's according to his will and his glory. But I will tell you, when God goes like this and he opens up your eyes and you see the world through a whole different light, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out. Because you know what? We have the same power that Christ was raised from the dead. That's living in us. And I say to people, the mind, we what, scientifically, 5-10% we use? God didn't create anything imperfected. He didn't create us a mind to only use 5 or 10. I go, man, I can't wait to experience the power of using 100%. We can't even comprehend what does that even radically mean. But could you imagine right now trying to seek what more power you can get out of your mind? Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm on edge. The future's going to be mine. John, you watch.
I'm watching, man. I've been watching you for years as well.
We have things coming down the pipeline.
Well, I'm at your office. I know you're in Europe, and I came out there to kind of fill while you were gone for the Motivational Mondays, and it's awesome time, and you can see it. You can feel the energy in your office. You have this beautiful, amazing office, and then I get told there that you guys are getting a new one because you've already outgrown it.
Who's telling you that? I tell people to keep their mouths shut.
But you go in there, your agents, they're hungry to learn, and there's a certain energy, and there's only a few offices that I've ever really been in that you feel this, and there's a certain energy in your office that you just don't see. I didn't see at 9 years of being in Remax. I don't see at all. I speak at brokerages all over the United States, all over the place, and you very rarely see it. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Every uber successful brokerage owner I've ever met that's done amazing things is a servant leader. They truly care, because nobody else does in this business. It's like you are literally just a statistic. They care about you till they recruit you.
Right,
and then
right. What have you done for me lately?
Right?
Type of mindset.
Yeah.
It's amazing, because the environment. Ever since I've started to realize, now I'm hungry. I've listened to people. I watch people. I'm not a reader. You'll never the only book I try to read is the Bible, and I read a little piece at a time because my mind just keeps wandering. But I'm going to plug through that whole book. But I'm a ferocious learner, because I believe that's what God's driving me through. And it's funny, ever since my mindset has changed about I cannot be around negative people. That is not something I just say, I can't be around negative. I physically cannot be around negative people. I physically can feel it and go, I just can't do it. It's not something, I choose not to, I can't do it. And I train people like that. And we try to get into that mindset, because not that I'm going to put people down, but haters are haters. Victims are victims. They want you to live in their world, and they will do whatever it takes to get you to live in their world. We live in a world that is on information overload, and we think as human beings that's a good thing. It's probably the worst thing that's happening to us. We are so not only spiritually bankrupt, but we are so attention bankrupt. People have a hard time focusing. They can't focus on anything. I just had this conversation with my agents the other day. I go, here's the problem in the industry right now. I'll say, this is what you're going to do. You're going to sit some open houses. You're going to door knock. You're going to get into script practice. I'm going to make you work. They go, okay. They sit one open house. Nobody shows up. On the internet, it says, would you like to know how to do this many leads? And all of a sudden, they abandon this because this shiny object just popped up. And they go, open houses don't work. Really? What'd you do? Give it 4 hours? Yeah. Our attention spans are shot. We live in a world that we want it, and we want it now, and it's jacking us up. Nobody enjoys the journey anymore. They don't enjoy it. They go, I want this, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there and not enjoy the journey as you're going through it.
Yeah, and it exists on a huger rate than we probably have ever seen it. But the cool part is once you get to that point, you truly commit, you really have no competition, because nobody else is willing to do that work. So I always tell people, dude, if you want to make it in real estate, if you truly are committed, you want to put in the work and you're truly committed, you will succeed because you have no competition. Yeah. Right? So, okay, let's say I'm a brand new agent that comes to work for your organization. I say I'm hungry, I'm committed. What are some of the things that you kind of walk them through so they can go out there and start producing right away? I mean, what does that look like?
Excellent. I think the very first thing I like to do with new agents is get their mind straight. I think the problem with most companies out there and most trainings is they just throw you right into training. Well, that's great. You want to train them, but if they don't know what they're training for, if they don't know what they're going to be up against, they're easily going to be discouraged. And one of the things I tell every brand new agent, or even agents who are struggling or coming from other companies, I believe with all my heart, the number one reason why most agents fail in this business is because they have no idea what it is to own a business. They've worked jobs their whole life. They've traded their time for money. And when you go through life trading your time for money, and you go through school, that's what they teach you, trade time for money, and then you try to own a business, so you're taking a bunch of people who say, now become a business owner, but we're not going to call it a business owner. They look at it as a job. The first adversity they come up against, or the amount of time they work, I could teach them till I'm blue in the face, and then they don't get paid for that time, they're shot. So I think the first thing I do is we sit down with them and we let them understand this is what you're going to expect. First and foremost, it is extremely difficult. I'm not even sugarcoating it, guys. It's extremely difficult. I talk to brand new agents before they even get their license. I go, I'm letting everybody know right now, there is no easy path in real estate. You'll be working your tail off for a long time just to probably make a paycheck. Yeah. Set that mindset. You're setting them up for failure if you don't do that. So, got to get in business. You got to look at his business. You're now your own boss, which you know is a double-edged sword because now you're your own boss. We start to plug him into the training, and the training for us is we separate it. It's two parts. One is we have all training that's around prospecting, about how do you prospect, what do you say, overcoming objections, and then the other piece to it is about contract writing, all the technical parts of it. We don't put them in the same class. I get my agents out there working and we hold them accountable and we motivate them. We try to partner them up with somebody, get them mentors, plug into a team. I oversee all my teams. I know what all my teams do. And I'll be damned if I let some agent go on a team that I know doesn't run it like a real team who thinks it's a quick fix to make a buck. Won't happen. Yeah. The other thing that I could tell you, which is usually important to us, is every agent at my company, all 450 of them, have my direct phone number, have Angela's direct phone number. The beauty of it is I work with my best friend, I work with my wife, and we're not to sit and brag, but we're both superstars in this business. We oversee 3,000 transactions a year. We do almost $1 billion in real estate a year, and I oversee it all. How much knowledge do you think I got in the business? A ton. Yeah. You know, it's sad. I don't put down people who don't do a lot of business. But people who don't do a ton of business will never learn this industry fully. Doesn't mean they're going to be bad. But there's going to be things that are going to pop up going, holy crap, I've never seen that before. The beauty is my agents get that experience from us. We share it with them. So we do. We plug them into training. We hold them accountable, let them learn the contracts. And the other thing I tell people is this. You will fail. You'll fall on your face. You'll hit tough times. I'm here to pick you up. I'm here to answer questions. Do not sit in class and wait to be prepared to go out and sell real estate. Just go out and do it. Sit those open houses.
And I think, not only are you setting them up for the right mindset, but I have to imagine that it makes them gain a whole new respect for you. Because everybody else in this industry is just selling, look at our fancy office, you come in here. I mean, they almost sell that perception that business is going to walk in the door.
They're selling you leads.
Right? So when you're the first guy, probably the only guy that they hear of, like, look, this is going to be hardcore. This is going to be this. You're going to, whatever. And it probably attracts them to you that much more because of that brutal honesty.
Yeah, I always get new agents coming in because I know what my competition's selling. They're selling leads. And they'll always come in and go, how many leads are we going to get from you? And I look at them, I go, none, zero. You will get not one lead from me. That's the biggest disservice I could ever do to you. Not only that, you talk about wanting to discourage a brand new agent. Go throw an agent a bunch of leads, because here's what a brand new agent thinks. Business, that's a sale. Yeah. Oh, no, a lead is not a sale. So how discouraged do you think they're going to be when they think they were just handed something that doesn't pan out to nothing? Yeah. Oh, it's just I laugh. Here's how I run my business. I've been number one. I don't go around saying I'm better than everybody else. I am number one. My numbers prove it. This is not some smoke screen I'm sending up to somebody. But I work as if I'm number two. That's how I work.
Yeah, I love that.
That desire does not go away from me. I am so competitive. It's ridiculous. My wife looks at me and she goes, "Damn, man, you just got to chill out just sometimes." To me, it's not about money.
Yeah, no, I love that. Now, that was going to be my next question for you is what continues to drive you? Because good is the worst enemy to greatness. So a lot of people that be in your position would probably get comfortable because you could. I mean, you could be like, hey, we're just going to travel a lot and take some time off and be okay for the rest of our lives. So good people it becomes good enough. What keeps you pumped up, motivated, driving, and just continue pushing?
I don't know. And that's an honest answer. I've asked myself that question. My wife's, our relationship is so amazing that I still shake my head. And just to deviate 1 second, I'm going to get back to that. That is another reason why we are so stinking successful, because I've realized in life, when your life is affecting you, whether it be problem kids, whether it be a bad marriage, whether it be anything in your life, it will affect your business, period, end of story. I mean, I think about that. When I lived in hell, and that's what I used to say, when I lived in hell and I had a bad relationship, do you really think I'm going in work and thinking about selling real estate when all I'm thinking about is the hell I'm in, fighting with my ex and situation and the finances? You can't even focus here. My relationship with my wife is honestly so perfect that all we could focus on is our business. And I think that's one of the strengths, praise God. I just forgot what your question was. You had said...
what keeps you driving?
What keeps you... I see. Why would I not stop? Why would I not be complacent and go, let's just coast? We've had these conversations. There are days that my wife will go, when is enough enough? And I said, I honestly can't answer it. I live and breathe this stuff. And I looked at her and I go, and so do you. That's the cool part. When we're away for a month, we got 6 kids. I got 2 from my first. My son who you met, he works with me. My daughter works part-time with me. My wife, she's got a 16-year-old. He lives with us. We have an 11-year-old together that I always say is my favorite. That's why when they hear that. And then we just adopted 2 kids.
Wow.
God put it on our heart. And we heard the system's tough, and there were 2 foster kids living in 2 different families, but they were brother and sister. We were able to bring them together. God's good because they're blended already, or with us a year and a half. So we're away for a month. It's the longest we've ever been away, especially from our kids. And I love it. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but dude, man, you got to put that on your bucket list.
Yeah.
It will make you think, what the hell are we doing here? They don't live to work.
Right.
So it's relaxing. It's nice. You get to see the scenery. You get to see everything. But, I'm still calling my agents from Germany. We're in Germany or Italy, and I'm still chatting with them. I'm helping them. I love what I do. So we go, when is enough enough? Why aren't we slowing down? I honestly believe God will let me know when he wants me to slow down. But he's been opening up so many more doors. And you're going to see coming down the pipeline where you're going to go, damn, I got to get this guy back in again.
No.
That it's just, I love what I do.
Yeah, because, I mean, you've got that month off, which is relaxing. But I bet you by the end of that month, you're like, dude, I cannot wait to get back to business,
Yeah. It's more like I can't wait to get back and crack some ass because when you're gone for a month.
Oh, yeah. That's how it rolls, man. So then you also started a training school where it's really separate from your West USA brokerage. It's other real estate agents. I don't know if they're local, all over. Talk to us about that. So
here's how this started. I love to cook. I mean, Italian from New York. I'm the one who does all the cooking in my house. When you leave New York, all of a sudden the good food goes away. So I'm cooking it. And one of the things we've always done for my brokerage since day one, we had said that we're going to build a company, and it's going to base on fellowship. I look at what's going on in the world, and like I said, I'm not saying I know it all, but I do believe God gives me a sight. And as a world, not just our country, as a world, we're becoming so automated, so distant from each other. There's no personal connections anymore. And I'm watching that also in the real estate industry. I'm watching brokerages selling agents on satellite offices. Now, I'm not saying there's no point to it, but I don't believe, unless there's somebody really plugged into that satellite office to help them out, I don't believe many agents can make it that way. I'm not saying none can, because some of us are just wired that way to be successful. And I said to my wife, we are not going to be like that. We're always going to be present in our office. We're always going to have things at our office, because God did not create us to be separate. We as human beings were created to interact with each other. That's what makes us grow, period, end of story. So one of the things that we did was we have quarterly lunches. And I always said from the beginning, well, at the beginning we didn't have money, so I said, I'm just going to cook for everybody. That was 30 agents, 40 agents, 80 agents. Starts to grow, and
450 agents.
Just starts to go up, and I'm going to cook for everybody. And no shit, I'd be cooking by myself, one person, for 250 agents. I'd make lasagna, sausage and peppers, meatballs, baked ziti, whatever it is. And one of the big jokes is people said, well, we joined your company just for the food.
Yeah.
And we'd serve it. We don't hire people to sit back there. We do our meeting. I have my girls warming it up because I prepped it all. And then me and Angela would serve the food. And we just believe it's not that we're so great, pat ourselves on the back. We just believe what a great way to interact with our agents is to walk in and you're giving them food. I was just brought up that way. You know what? When you break bread with somebody, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I think it's a psychological thing.
I mean, the breaking the bread, but also the fact that you put 2 days or whatever to cooking that meal, prepping that meal. I think people, it probably blows their mind. I've never been with a company that the owner serves you your meal or even cooks for you. I mean, that doesn't exist.
If you ever seen the size of my sauce pot, because I had to keep buying bigger ones. Never forget, we went into a store once and we seen this one that literally I could probably fit my 11-year-old in and give him a bath in it. And I said to Angela, I go, there's my sauce pot. And this thing is just, it's just enormous. And I cook everything from scratch. As a matter of fact, we got one coming up tomorrow. So I'm already in the process of cooking, but I wanted to come here and chat with you.
Yeah.
So we interact with our agents. We do things for them. We're part of them. I know about their lives. We used to take our staff on cruises every year. Come on, we're all went on a cruise. Let's shut down the office.
Don't get any ideas, Lindsay. So I mean, you keep talking about some expansion, and I know you're a really humble guy.
Oh, wait. I know what you did. You were talking about the school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's right. I get sidetracked sometimes.
No, you're good, man.
So what? Yeah. So how did we get to that point? So we were having so many agents, I couldn't find facilities to house our quarterly luncheons. Now, not meaning, okay, I could maybe find a hall here, but they didn't have a kitchen. Or the ones that had the kitchens, we used to do it at Tumbleweed where it wasn't as big, but they had a kitchen. So I go, this, and I said to Angela one day, I go, let's go find a place. Let's just go buy a place that has a kitchen. It's big enough, and we just use it for our office luncheons. And we found a 10,000 square foot, it was an old yummy buffet that had this, most unbelievable kitchen, enormous. And we gutted it, and it was just empty, and we were just using it as a hall to have our quarterlies. And then my wife said, well, we've got this big building we're paying for, and people are actually calling off the sign going, hey, do you do weddings? Do you do bar mitzvahs? Do you do quinceañeras? And I'm like, hey, maybe we can make some money doing this. I'll cook for it, until I realized we couldn't hire staff because people beat you up on their money. And what really hit me is I'm never too low to do a job. I'm one of those guys, if I see something that needs to be done, I'm not going to go, that's beneath me or that's somebody else's. I'm just going to do it. So we were doing these parties, and I was the one bussing the tables. I was the one breaking down the room. I was the one busting my ass. I'm old now. I'm not about busting my ass. We got 6 kids. And we're literally making $400 or $500 off of this party. And we go, what the hell are we doing? And then we said, we owned a real estate school. We were renting a place, and we said, let's expand on the real estate school for pre-licensing. Got a great instructor, Marty Baum, one of the best in the state. And so we reconfigured this 10,000 square foot place. I got a full Class 6 liquor license from when I opened it up. I got a kitchen. Now there's 3 giant classrooms. One opens up into a big room. And then we even said, why don't we start doing CE classes out of here? And let's create an environment where agents know they can come, they can get a drink, maybe get food, and take classes.
Yeah, that's where I'm going from now on.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the funny part is it was originally opened up, we put our last name, it was called Fazio's. It was cool, I loved it, and I just, but when we started to say, hey, people, come along and let's do CE classes, we started to hear from other vendors going, do you realize there's a ton of brokers and owners that are boycotting your place because they said that's a recruiting tool for you? And I go, well, that's pathetic. Do you know who believed in us, who knew it was not a recruiting, when it was still called Fazio's, who rented out our space for their Christmas party and had me cook the food for their Christmas party, was Solutions Real Estate.
Yep.
What a Heidi class act woman.
Yep.
You know what, that touched me because I'm saying, wow, she believes me. I'm a competition, but she believes and trusts in me. Yeah. And I didn't use it as a recruiting tool. As a matter of fact, we actually have other brokerages recruiting students out of our real estate school.
Total separate business. You run it just like a real estate school.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of realtors that are here in Arizona. What's the name of the school? How do they find out more about the school?
It's called The Forum, and the website is theazforum.com.
Okay.
And it's just, it's a work in progress. There's nothing easy. It is I'll be honest, it's a little difficult for me and my wife to run the big brokerage, to oversee the forum. We run a large property management company. We're part owners of the title company. We've got 6 kids. We got a lot on our plate. It's tough sometimes. But that's our vision. Our vision is we want to help agents. I don't care where they're at. I really don't. Do I believe that some companies do a disservice to agent? Absolutely, just like you do. If you went on a listing appointment, you know how some listing agents are just by some of the photos they take. They do them a disservice. I believe that too. I got some good friends who are owners, brokers of different brokerages that I think do a great job.
So where do you want to, you talked about just wait till you see some of his growth, and I can't, you're on fire. You've been on fire since I've been watching you, and the growth has been just insane, and I can only imagine what the future is going to be like for you. But like, where do you see it going? Do you see yourself here in the metro expanding to throughout the valley, expanding across state lines? Do you kind of have a vision of where you see it going?
That's a great question. I don't see it expanding anywhere out of Chandler.
Okay.
I could grow a monster just right in that area. I almost feel bad for all the other brokerages over there, but it is. But remember, I told you I'm not a business guy. I'm a visionary. When I see something, it usually comes to fruition. I don't know where God's plan is going to be, and He might build it bigger. But I will tell you, there has been something on my wife and I, our hearts to do, and just really haven't had the time to do it. Number one is we wanted to write a book. We already trademarked a great name that we could have it, that actually could even be turned into a seminar that you could go across country. I am writing another class that'll be rolling out, and I do believe our story is unique. It really is unique. It's, people say, are you embarrassed or ashamed of your past? And I go, well, on the surface I am, but I don't regret it because it wouldn't make me who I am today. And quite honestly, there's one thing that people know about me. There's only one reason why I live, and that's to glorify God. And what better way to say He could take anybody and turn them into anything? And I know some people go, oh yeah, Chuck, well, it's easy for you to glorify that God. Look how successful you are. Well, I glorified Him before that. And sometimes, I know this sounds crazy, but sometimes I wish He took it all away from me. Because I'm going to glorify Him the same way and give Him really props on that. And it's a difficult thing for me to say because my flesh goes, really? Yeah. But at the same time, I really do mean it's what I live for. And so I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know who we're going to be able to bless. All I know is he's got big things for me, and I know he tells me I need to share my story. Normally, I wouldn't. I don't even do things like that. My agents always say, you are probably, if you take every aspect of the business, on an overall generality, you're probably the most successful guy in the real estate industry. Are there better real estate agents than me? Yeah, I was up there as one of the top. Are there better owners than me? Yeah, but I'm also up there at the top. Are there better people that do this? Yeah, but if you took the best of all of them, did they do it all?
Right.
And I don't think anybody could say they have. So they always say to me, why aren't you doing these seminars? Why aren't you on these panels? Why aren't you doing this speaking engagement? And I go, you know what? I was never called to. I'm always in prayer. I go, God, you're going to lead me where I got to go. And I honestly, I was convicted to do this. Don't know why. Yes, I have followed you. Yes, I've seen it. But I was convicted to say, I need to come speak on this thing.
Yep, no, this has been amazing, man. I mean, I've been looking forward to it for a long time. It's like I said, I've been a huge fan of yours for years, so it's pretty cool to actually get to meet you finally in person and get to know you and talk with you here. So I got a couple last questions for you, but before we jump into those questions, how do people, if maybe they're a realtor and they want to learn more about your company, or they just have a specific question to you, how do our listeners, or if they're watching this or listening to this, how do people learn more about you and get in touch with you?
So here's what I'm going to do, because this is who I am. I give my direct phone number. It's 480-570-8020. 480-570-8020. You call me anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, awesome.
And I tell that to any person. I love giving advice. I love helping people. And I'm a straight shooter, so sometimes people don't want to hear my advice. Sometimes agents can't handle it and go other places. And also sometimes my flesh gets in the way. God goes like this, and he changed you. I never forget what my niece said to me. My niece said to me once, she said, Uncle Chuck, ever since you came to Christ, you physically changed. I was a vicious, nasty person. I was lost. And sometimes, my wife knows it, she jokes, I have my tendency is I'm a rageful person. And I love it because it's a work in progress for me. And there's sometimes people do shit that I literally said, man, just yesterday, somebody did something so low and despicable that I just said to my staff, I wish I didn't know the Lord.
Yep.
Because somebody would be paying for this. And I do believe, hey, when you walk in Christ, you know what? You will be under persecution. And I watch people's Facebook posts about, well, look what's happened to this guy because he prayed. And I go, really? Christ told you to bear your cross. It's going to be tough. I'm blessed. I always say, I don't know why you do this to me and my wife, but we're blessed.
Yep.
I lost my brother-in-law at the age of 50. At 49, guy was strong as a bull. I'm close with my brother-in-law. Diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. 6 months later, he's gone. And you know what? He did not know the Lord his whole life. He came to the Lord 6 months prior, and it was joyful. And that man did not shed a tear once throughout his whole torturous ordeal. And that's when it hit me, man. It's the journey. People could set these vision and goals, and I say to them, how do you know you're even going to get there? Not meaning, can you achieve them? How do you know you're going to be around in a week?
Yeah.
Live for the day.
Yeah, what was the saying, want to make God laugh, tell me your plans?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man, so the next question, and you alluded this a little bit ago about sometimes you wish it was all taken away. But let's say it all was taken away. Right? Everything is just, you're fully wiped out financially.
Job.
Right? So you're fully wiped out financially. However, your family's good, your health's still good, but you've retained everything that you've learned up here all over the years. What are the first, and you have very limited assets. Let's just say $500 left to your name. What are the first few things that you would immediately go out there to do to rebuild this empire that you built? I
will tell you first and foremost, I will never build a real estate company again. If from a business standpoint, and who is ever listening to this, take this to heart. And maybe you've heard this from some people. From a business standpoint, if you're strictly looking at it financially, owning a real estate broker is probably one of the worst things you can do. The liabilities, the responsibilities, the overhead, the crap I have to deal with just on a brokerage level is not even worth what you make out of it. I'm not complaining. Like I said, God's got me where I am, but I would never run a brokerage. I'd probably run a 450-man team at another brokerage. Yeah. People actually ask me, what brokerage would that be? I don't know, because it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, that is a good question, because we have talked about it. We do take risks, me and my wife, where that can happen, and we will be taking on another big risk. And I said, what if it was all gone? And I have my health. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I might train agents. I might do seminars. I might travel. You know, I watch you, and I'm envious. Because I said, the writing was on the wall probably within the first few months I've seen you and what you did. I go, oh, I know what he's doing, man. Good for him. That guy gets it. And I am. Sometimes I'm envious because you don't take on the burdens. I take on the burdens of every other stinking agent that's at my brokerage. That, guess what? My opinion is some agents, I'm not saying even at my company, shouldn't even have their real estate license.
Yeah.
Shouldn't even have their real estate license.
You know, it's probably one of the top questions I get on a daily basis is, Josh, I mean, you have, 40, 50 people on your team. Why don't you go have your own brokerage? I'm like, man, I don't want that headache. I don't want to, I leverage all the bricks and mortar. I've got 3 small spaces that I run. I leverage all their fancy buildings, everything else, all the liabilities, and I just run my team, and
it's once you grasp it, I think a lot of people, the main reason is because if you want to figure out financially, well, what if you save, let's say you say, what do I save that I pay the brokerage? So if you take that number, what do I pay that brokerage every month or every year? And then figure out the cons going, okay, so if I own my own brokerage, that means that I need my own E&O insurance. I need to have my own lawyer on retainer. I need to, the time of dealing with lawsuits, the time of dealing with all the questions and the reliability and the stress. If anybody did that and really analyzed it from a financial view, every person will say, no, that's a dumb thing. So the question is why do they do it? Well, I could tell you the reason why, strictly and solely because of ego, pride and ego. I own my own company.
Yeah. Or what are your thoughts about sellability, though? Because that's something that always weighs on my head. Like if I ever were to take my company and turn it into a brokerage, it probably would still be a team within the like it would just be, But you think about sellability, okay, you spend 30 years developing a team. Who's going to buy it if it's under another umbrella?
Well, and that's also a great thing to say. I just had a conversation with one of my team leaders last night. And he asked me, he goes, well, one day you get to sell your brokerage or maybe sell a team. Here's what I say. I think it's a pipe dream. And this is just my opinion. I'm not a business guy. But if I sold my brokerage, any person in their right mind knows that brokerage is worth nothing without me and Angela. And I don't say it to be flippant or, I'm the best thing in the world and my staff ain't great. I have a great staff. And it takes years to come up with a great staff. But I will tell you, if me and Angela were not present, it would go under. So anybody in their right mind who would pay me X amount of dollars, here's what they have to say in their mind. Even if they say, well, part of the agreement is you have to stay on staff. Remember what I said to you early? Who is going to share in my vision and my dream more than myself? Is me. If I'm on staff for this guy, I'm not saying I wouldn't care, but do you really think I'm going to have the same drive, the same passion if I don't own the company anymore and I'm doing it for this guy? Ain't going to happen. And it's the same thing with a team. It's the same thing with the team. Josh, let's face it, you're the team.
Yeah.
You can create the best agents, but the bottom line is any one of your agents can go anywhere else, anytime they want, and that goes with any brokerage at any company. So my opinion is anybody in their right mind who's willing to pay you money for it without having you there is an idiot.
Yeah, I love it.
Is an idiot.
Yeah, that's probably the best, most honest answer I think I've ever gotten, and I've asked that question a lot to a lot of different people. So, all right, so last question. It's really just more of I guess some words of encouragement. This podcast was created to go out there and inspire people to create epic lives. And I think you and I both are really congruent on, we see this trend where 97+% of the population out there is not awake, right? They're just sleepwalking through the day. They're paying more attention to planning a grocery list than they ever do their life. They're just not paying attention. And this podcast is really built to go out there and hopefully wake them up, hopefully give them some inspiration, give some motivation, but also a lot of tactical knowledge to go out there and create an epic life. And you're a dude, that's turned everything around. That could have easily went down one path, doing drugs, strip clubs, doing all of this. You made a choice to go out there, turn your life around, create an epic life. And now, not only create an epic life for you and your family, dude, you're impacting so many people on a daily basis, and look how powerful that is. Right now they're able to go in there and take those teachings that you teach them and transfer that to their kids and their communities. And man, it's just this massive snowball where, by the end of this, I'm sure you're going to positively impact millions, man. So what are maybe some last words of inspiration, motivation that you would want to leave our listeners with to get them to go out there and create that same epic life for themselves?
I'm going to talk to them as if I talk to my kids, and I'm harder on my kids than anybody else. There's a few things that I always say to my kids that they always laugh because it's the same thing. Talk is cheap. Anybody could talk a good game. Anybody. When people say, hey, Chuck, you really walk the walk. You know why that's sad to me? That somebody actually has to say that. We're living in a world that's getting worse and worse. Victim mentality. Everybody thinks they're entitled to something. Handouts galore. It's the worst thing we could do. And I'm so strict on my kids when I tell them that, look, the world owes you nothing. It's a tough world out there. You better be at your A game. The second thing I always tell people, stop being complacent in your life. Either you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. There's no such thing as staying the same. You got to be in a growth mindset all the time. All the time. Get out of this other type of mindsets that you're in, the negative mindsets, the static mindsets, growth mindset all the time. And that takes work. That takes a conscious effort. This is not something that you're born with. This is not something that comes easy. You have to make that choice. And last but least, and some people will disagree, some people will agree, some people will be in the middle. I'm going to tell you right now, if you answer to yourself, you're in trouble. God got a hold of me. God opened my eyes. I believe there's a spiritual realm, and if somebody doesn't believe in the spiritual world, that doesn't believe in God, here's what I say, take a look around. What you see out there, what is out there, what's so beautiful, magnificent, the fact that me and you can communicate and we could think did not happen by accident. So really, that is my number one thing. And that's not a cliche when somebody says God first. What bothers me most was when I hear people say God first, and then I go, wow, talk is cheap because your actions don't speak that. Yeah. And that's sad. Yeah. So that's what I leave people off with. Hey, if anybody just wants to chat with me, if anybody's struggling out there, at their wit's end, because I will tell you, I was at my lowest. A person like me at one point was manic depressant, and I didn't even know I was there. And I'm not. That's not my personality. If you feel like you're at your wit's end in life in general, call me. Yeah. That's a challenge to you. Yeah.
No, I love it, man. I love it. And our listeners, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation is a start of delusion. Information is not power. It's taking action on the information that you have that creates power in your life. So you just heard from, I'm going to say it again, man, the legend in the business, dude. Like this dude has done every aspect of the business on a massive level. So take something that you learned today, whatever that is, implement in your business, implement in your life, go out there and create that life that you know you want and deserve. And Chuck, this has been a massive honor, dude. It's been an honor to be able to learn from you over the years. And man, I'm really excited to continue this relationship going forward in the future and learn some more. And it's been a huge honor having you in the studio. So thank you so much, my friend.
A pleasure. And I'm going to watch you, buddy. You're going to kill it and everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time and keep up the amazing work.
Awesome.
All right, my friend, that was great. How'd you feel?